Okay, we are ready. Beatrix, the floor is yours.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Is this okay? Yes, and welcome to the launch of the EUniWell Champions Scheme. It's great that you're all here. Thank you very much for your interest in this, what we think is just a wonderful scheme of, I hope it's working, is it? Yeah, because no, I think it's okay. It's a wonderful scheme for us to, catch you basically as ambassadors for EUniWell. The EUniWell Champion Scheme is targeted at academics interested in taking on a short-term leadership role in disseminating well-being, research, education, innovation, civic engagement results, and advancing with that the EUniWell mission, both within the Alliance and to external audiences. So you will be able and can become the EUniWell champion for a certain period of time. Will support you not just with funds, but also, of course, with the entire infrastructure of EUniWell, with the 11 partners that we are, with the huge network that works on well-being across Europe. Very important these days as our world is fragile, our democracies are under threat, and where we just need research, education, and innovation to foster and to create the future. So I've just been to Brussels last week, and the role of the European universities has been stressed in order to create a Europe that is not just competitive, but that also develops a union of skills, for example, and that helps Europe thrive further. So the EUniWell Champion Scheme, and you'll hear more about the criteria we have established, the real mission behind this in a minute. But I'd like to really encourage you, come join us, do apply for what is a wonderful scheme where you can get involved with a community in all sorts of ways on the basis of your academic, your scientific expertise to become the EUniWell champion. Thank you very much.
Now, Maria Jose Lopez Couso, our Vice Rector for the Degrees and Internationalization, has the floor.
Thank you very much, Chema. I don't know if all of you can hear me. Is it okay? Good. Thank you so much. So as Chema mentioned, I'm the Vice Rector for Degrees and Internationalization at the University of Santiago de Compostela, and it is a great pleasure for me to welcome the members of the EUniWell Alliance to our university, although only virtually. I hope we will have the chance to welcome some of you here in Santiago in the near future, and in particular those colleagues who will be chosen to take part in the first call of the Champions Scheme of our alliance. As you probably know, or some of you know, the Universidad de Santiago de Compostela is in charge of Work Package 8 of the EUniWell Web project. And this work package is dedicated to responsible research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And I believe that the adjective responsible is perhaps the most relevant element in this noun phrase, in the denomination of the work package, and probably the one which gives the three concepts and the three activities, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, a special meaning, a very special meaning within EUniWell, with the university, the European University of Wellbeing. As pointed out in our EUniWell 2030 strategy framework, one of our objectives as an alliance is that of becoming a voice or the voice for well-being. And the document shows how EUniWell is incorporating well-being into the 4 university dimensions of education, research, innovation, and societal engagement, and also how we as an alliance will offer leadership and excellence on well-related topics in Europe and beyond. And we believe that the Champions Scheme we are presenting here today will be a major tool for this objective, for this aim, leadership and excellence. As will become apparent in the course of the presentation, it has been prepared. The scheme has been prepared by a team of representatives from all the universities involved in the EUniWell Web project, coordinated by members of staff from the University of Santiago de Compostela. And as has already been mentioned and will be explained in greater detail later on, 9 champions will be chosen in this first call. But as champions of the Alliance and not as champions of each university, they will convey the importance of working together, of co-creating content oriented to well-being, and therefore contributing to establishing the roadmap towards well-being, which is outlined in our strategy 2030. Obviously, for the University of Santiago de Compostela, it's an honor. It has been an honor to have coordinated the establishment of the Champions Scheme. And you may rest assured that we will do our best, and all our resources will be employed in its administration and development, so that by the end of April this year, the names of the first 9 champions will be announced, and therefore we will be reaching a kind of real milestone in the EUniWell path. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stay for the whole of the session, but I leave you in very safe hands, in the good hands of Alma Gonzalez, our Work Package 8 manager, and of Juan Corrales, our academic coordinator of Work Package 8, which will let you know all you need to know about this Champions Scheme we are launching today. So thank you very much for your attention, and as Beatrix said, especially for your interest in the EUniWell Champions Scheme. That's all on my part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria Jose. Thank you, Beatrix, also for your interventions. Well, welcome you all. Thank you for attending this info session on the first call of expressions of interest of the EUniWell Champion Scheme. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alma Gonzalez. I'm the coordinator of EUniWell Work Package 8, Responsible Research, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. With me is Professor Juan Antonio Corrales, academic coordinator for this work package. I will present the first call for expressions of interest of the EUniWell Champion Scheme. And once I have finished, my colleague Juan Antonio will answer any possible questions you may have. Please remember this info session is being recorded. So those of our colleagues who could not attend will have it available at any time. Okay, I will now share my screen with you. Can you see the presentation? Yes, okay, perfect. I will. Okay, great. So the main objective of the EUniWell Champions first call for expressions of interest is to select 9 senior academics, who will act as EUniWell ambassadors during a 6-month period and help connect our academic communities. Each champion will have a budget up of 15,000 euros to support their activities over a 6-month period of their election between September 2025 and July 2026. As Beatrix said, these champions will take a leadership role in disseminating well-being research results and advancing the EUniWell mission within the Alliance and also to external audiences. Regarding the EUniWell Champion concept, what's an EUniWell Champion? Well, an EUniWell Champion is envisioned as a leader in research who commits to serve as an ambassador for our Alliance and to advance well-being and help define the future directions of EUniWell. They are also interested in taking on a leadership role in advancing the EUniWell Wellbeing Focused Mission and the EUniWell 2030 Strategy Framework and Strategy Questions Agenda. They will promote the values and objectives of EUniWell, not only within their home institutions, as we were saying before, but also throughout broader academic communities, associated partners of the Alliance, civil society, and policymakers in Europe and beyond. Champion scheme is focused on well-being. However, applicants have broader flexibility to design a working plan that fits their field of expertise. Precisely, not only the well-being, a little broader. And although the term of a EUniWell champion is 6 months, it is anticipated that they will continue as an Alliance ambassadors in the future. They are also willing to assume the responsibilities associated with the EUniWell Champions Scheme. These are 3 main responsibilities. The first one is developing a 6-month work plan that advances the EUniWell Wellbeing mission, fosters collaboration, and supports the strategic ambitions of the Alliance, as described, as I was saying before, in EUniWell 2030. This working plan should include at least 1 activity per month, involving mobility. This activity must be focused on well-being research and dissemination, and all activities should contribute to strengthening research and collaboration between universities and between other universities and other external stakeholders. For example, participating in conferences, professional fairs, common publications, discussing the creation of startups, etc. The second main responsibility is participating in EUniWell Center for Advanced Studies. They will participate as members of the scientific committee that designs activities to be developed, and also they will give a keynote lecture on the symposia. And the last main responsibility they are willing to take is participating in the Alliance-wide activities associated, especially those organized by the EUniWell thematic arenas. All of these responsibilities are expected to be developed and to be assumed during their 6-month period of their choice between September 2025 and July 2026. Regarding the eligibility criteria for applicants, they must have a senior researcher profile. That means that they must have at least 7 years of experience since the completion of their PhD. This is a criteria that was established by the European Council. They must also be employed as academic or researcher during the entire September 2025, July 2026 period at one of the following EUniWell member universities, that are University of Cologne, University of Florence, Inalco, University of Konstanz, Linnaeus University, Nantes Université, University of Murcia, Universidade de Santiago de Compostela, or Semmelweis University. They must have also a record of significant research experience, accomplishment, and recognition in a research area within one of the 5 EUniWell thematic arenas that, as we all know, but they are health and well-being, social equality and well-being, environmental change and well-being, culture, multilingualism and well-being, and teacher education and well-being. And finally, they must have a mobility willingness, because they have to do 1 mobility per month during the 6-month period, and up to 2 of those mobilities can be done online. Each champion has an allocated budget up to 15,000 euros per champion to support their activities. Please note that from an Alliance perspective, the budget allocation is flexible. However, all applicants must adhere to institutional regulations from their home institutions regarding budget categories and allocation, because these 15,000 euros will be managed through their home institution, and funds will be disbursed based upon the local internal regulation and policies that govern the eligible expenses for grants. This means that all queries regarding budgets and eligible expenses should be directed to their local EUniWell office. They must also include sufficient budget to support the mobility activities in the working plan, including travel, accommodation, and other related expenses. And they must spend the full budget within the semester long of the EUniWell Champions period. Regarding the elements included in the proposal, note, please, that there are also some formatting requirements, which I will not detail now, but you can obviously consult in full detail in the text of the call. Regarding these required elements, there must be included a short CV, including a list of up to 10 academic products, a cover letter outlining the motivation, suitability for the position of a EUniWell champion, a communication and dissemination plan. These 3 elements must be 2 pages maximum long and in a free format. They must also include an action plan that describes the proposed activities as a EUniWell champion and the proposed timeline, again, maximum 2 pages. This proposal should describe the activities that will be supported under EUniWell and its well-being agenda. And they should clearly identify the EUniWell thematic arena in which it aligns. Candidates in the EUniWell Champions Call can submit a cross-cutting proposal, including 2 or more arenas that cover all of the fields of expertise. No need to include all the arenas. But the applications will be limited to 1 proposal per candidate per call. They must also include a list of bibliographic references in a standard form, a budget description that, as I was saying before, adheres to institutional guidelines, and the name of up to 3 reviewers for the application. These reviewers should have an institutional affiliation, avoiding, in any case, any possible conflict of interest. They could be from inside or outside the alliance. It is recommended some linked with the alliance, but it's not mandatory. In any case, they must be an expert in their respective field, and gender balance obviously will be appreciated. Oh, sorry. No, that was it. Okay. Regarding the evaluation process, all proposals must be submitted via email to euniwell.wp8@usc.gal. All of them must be submitted by 5 p.m. on February 28th. Once the applications are submitted, they will be reviewed to ensure the eligibility of the applicant and the fulfillment of requirements. And here, please note that any applications that do not fulfill of the requirements will be returned without any further review. EUniWell then will solicit independent expert evaluation according to this criteria. This evaluation criteria is excellence 40%, interdisciplinary and intersectorial approach 10%, engagement and impact 10%, leadership 10%, and action plan 30%. Again, you can consult this full evaluation criteria in full detail in the text of the call. And the board, the EUniWell board, will consider these expert evaluations and choose a cohort of champions that will best advance the EUniWell well-being agenda, one from each participating EUniWell member institution, reflecting gender balance and arena balance. Let me here do a little brief note on monitoring, since each champion will be expected to submit a final report to the management of the EUniWell Champions schemes at the conclusion of their term. And during the implementation phase, internal administrative and budgetary monitoring of champions will be their responsibility over their home institution. And last but not least, here's the timeline of this call. The first call of expressions of interest opened on the 10th of January 2025. The first info session is this one, February 3rd, 2025. Deadline for applications will be February 28th, 5 p.m. The selection process will end at April 29th. Therefore, EUniWell Champion selected candidates will be announced in the 30th of April. And the first round of champions will start on September 25 and end in July 2026. Well, I hope this presentation was helpful, and I will now leave the floor to my colleague, Professor Juan Antonio Corrales, in case if you have any questions, and he will help solve all your queries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alma. Thank you very much, Maria Jose and Beatrix, also for your presentations. As indicated by my colleagues, I'm the academic coordinator of Work Package 8 at USC. So please feel free to ask any question or doubt you have about this call. Leave your hand or open your micros. If not, you can write them down in the chat as you prefer. Yeah, Jose Villaverde, please go ahead.
Hello, good morning. My name is Jose Villaverde. I have recently joined the University of Santiago, and I have, some practical questions in relation to this application. Well, the first one is that there are some thematic areas in EUniWell with different topics. I mean, the action plan, I will assume, will at least aim to cover all those thematic areas for those 6 months, or should the applicant or the candidate focus on some of them and not all of them? That's the first question. And then the second question, it involves mobility for at least 4 physical mobilities and up to 2 online mobilities, which I understand it could even be 6 physical mobilities eventually. But I do understand it's in between the universities that are member of EUniWell. Is this correct? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your questions, Jose. So regarding the first question about all the arenas or some of them, so the action plan you are going to propose should at least cover one of the arena. With one arena is enough to propose an action plan. Of course, as indicated by my colleague Alma, you could also propose some transdisciplinary approach where you can cover several arenas. But of course, you are not obliged to cover all the arenas. It will be very complicated, in fact, to do this. And when you propose, of course, the reviewers for your application, you should try to propose experts of the arenas where you define your action plan. So at least one arena. Of course, the more arenas, more transdisciplinary plan, it could be interesting also. But you are free to do only one arena or a subset of these arenas of EUniWell. And later, no, it's not compulsory, as I said, to propose a plan covering all the arenas. And later, the second question about physical mobilities. So you need to do at least one mobility per month in this period of 6 months, so it means 6 mobilities at the end. And in order to give flexibility to you, because we understand that could be complicated to do all these mobilities physically, 2 of them could be online. So it means that in a compulsory way, only 4 mobilities should be physical, 1 per month, as we said. Is it clear for you, Jose? Do you want more clarification?
Yes, thank you. So, I mean, it could, for example, easily focus on arena 2, for example, social equality and well-being, and even take an interdisciplinary approach within that arena, because each arena actually leaves broad margin for interdisciplinarity themselves as well. Yeah. They are actually interdisciplinary in themselves, I would say. And then thank you for the answer in relation to the mobilities. My question is that we are talking about mobilities. We are talking about mobilities in between the partner institutions, right? The different universities are members of EUniWell and not others. out of.
It could be others. So the mobilities can be inside the alliance or outside the alliance, because the idea is that you as champion will act as ambassador inside and outside of the alliance. So it could be outside, no problem of this.
Okay, that's actually quite interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you very much for your questions, Jose. I think now we have María del Mar Grandillo. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Juan Antonio and Alba, for your presentation. I have three actually technical questions, and the first one is about the reviewers, because Alba mentioned something about not having any conflict of interest. So I completely understand that, but can you explain a little bit more, what do you understand of conflict of interest regarding the proposals, or in this regard? The second question would be about the timing, because you said they have to be 6 months period. I guess it's 6 months in a row. So my question is if July 2026 could be included in these 6 months, for example, starting February 2026 and then extended this 6 months period till July 2026 included July 2026. So that's my question, if July 2026 is included in the time or could be included. And then the third question would be actually regarding in connection with Jose first questions about the mobility, because I was thinking about college, teachers college in New York. It is also is a let's say it's a kind of a partner of the alliance. So my question would be, it could be I could include some mobilities within the US, including, for example, this college, the teachers college in New York, and maybe in another university within the mobility budget. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you, María del Mar. So I go question by question. For the reviewers, you should propose 3 experts of the arena or the arenas where you are proposing your action plan. When we talk about conflict of interest, you should follow the traditional way to do it in your institution. So when you ask for some grant in your institution, if the way to define the conflict of interest is done in your institution, you should follow these rules. We did not want to define precise rule about this conflict of interest because they are a little different from different institutions and countries, of course. But I would say that you should follow logical way, okay? When we say conflict of interest, we mean in good way and in bad way. What I mean, in good way, it means that you propose friends that work with you that we will not be objective. So you should try to find people who could evaluate your action plan or your CV in a objective way. And the other way around, they should not be enemies. They should not be with a negative point of view about your work because they are competitors, etc. So you should find some objective people who will give a professional point of view of your action plan and who be able to evaluate your experience and also the activities you propose. So this is very important. But we are quite flexible, as you see. We since we are in different countries, in different fields of expertise, so the definition of conflict of interest is very different. Sometimes is people you can include people who were writing papers with you, for example. In another places, you could not include people who are now developing a project with you. In other places, is people who have developed projects with you in the past. In other places, it's your PhD supervisor, or if it's 7 years that you were not working with the PhD supervisor, you can propose it. So I would say that it's up to the local rules you follow for the precise definition of the conflict of interest, but in a logical way, to avoid positive evaluation or negative evaluation, okay? Regarding the timeline, the 6-month period should be continuous. So it's a semester meaning that should be 6 months following one after the another without stop, because what we want is that during this period you concentrate in working as ambassadors of EUniWell. Of course, you can do other things because you will have other responsibilities of your university, but you should try to concentrate in this ambassador role, because after this 6-month period, your action as in the champion scheme will end. Of course, as Alma indicated, we would like champions to be implicated in the project afterwards and continue collaborating, but of course you will not be obliged to do so. It will be more a collaborative work. Okay, so July should be included. Yes, could be included, no problem. We say until July, so could be until the end of July. And for the teacher college at New York in the USA or other university that is outside Europe, no problem with any external institution that you feel that it's aligned with your action plan and that it can give impact and visibility to the actions you do inside your action plan. So no geographical limitation to go. Of course, you should not go to places that have some problem or that there are some limitations on mobility, but you are open to go anywhere. As we said, we want that the ambassadors spread the well-being agenda of the project all around the world. So do you need more clarification, Maria? Any more questions? Maria del Mar?
No, it's great. Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. I think that Jose Villaverde wanted something more, no? Some more clarification?
Yes,
That's it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Juan Antonio. I just, following a little bit of what my colleague has just expressed, I have just to clarify. I mean, for example, if I focus on social equality, the arena of social equality, I mean, this is, of course, can be connected, for example, with teaching, with the last one. I mean, that could link different arenas. So I guess that in terms of reviewers, I would assume that it could make sense to actually write reviewers that you might know, but you have not worked with them in a so close way in which there might be some sort of bias, I will say. And it does not necessarily have to be from your field of expertise. I'm from law, but I mean, I could write as a reviewer someone from education, for example, educational science. If I'm correct, that could be possible. That's one question. Then the second question is, as you say, it's not limited to the universities of the consortia. So if I, for example, propose a activity in a university in Portugal, that could, for example, fit as a sort of, as you say, we will be ambassadors. And then the third question, and probably the most relevant question that I would like some clarification about is, in the work plan, what sort of activities can we include as part of the work plan and which ones we cannot? For example, if I would like to organize, I don't know, a series of seminars in relation to discrimination and education and non-discrimination in a given country in partnership with, I don't know, a trade union, for example, would that fit? Would that not be possible? I mean, what activities are actually possible here? Purely research activities? Should we have contact with other institutions or stakeholders, wherever, out of academia? I would just like a little bit of clarification on what type of activities we can include in the work plan and what we cannot.
Okay, Jose, thank you for the questions. So I go one by one. For the first one, about the reviewers of other arenas that are connected with your action plan. Of course, you can propose other reviewers from other arenas that are connected, and that, in fact, the idea is that they should be experts in fields related with your action plan. So as you indicated, if you want to do an action plan focused on social equality, but later you connect with teaching education and you propose an expert in teaching education, it's perfect. It's going well, so you can do it, no problem. But of course, they should be able to contribute. They should be able to understand what you are proposing and to say if what you are proposing is interesting or not. So this is for the first question. Of course, if you are in one field that you are proposing a reviewer completely different in another field that is not connected, that in the action plan is not included the expertise of these reviewers, so it will not be a good idea. So they should be somehow related with your action plan. And of course, they could come from different arenas if these arenas are included somehow in your action plan. For the second question, the mobilities are not limited to the universities inside the Alliance. So, of course, you could go to Portugal as you were proposing, and there is no problem to go to Portugal or outside Europe to other countries that are not included in the Alliance. No problem. In fact, we want that also. We want that you spread the Alliance, that the Alliance is known by other universities, and that we create bigger collaboration networks through your work and your action as champion. And later, for the third question, the work plan, what sort of activities you can propose? So there are several of them. In the document that you see in the web page, so the call for interest, there are more details. I can number some of them. For example, you could include organization of workshops, discussion with regional stakeholders, doing some, as Alma said at some moment, creation of startups, doing some innovation actions, not only research. They could be innovation, they could be entrepreneurship, of course, dissemination and communication about your work. It's very important that in this action plan, as indicated in the presentation by Alma, you always keep in mind the dissemination and communication activities related with your action plan. So you should always communicate what you are doing in these mobilities. And I think that there is no limitation in the type of activities you can do. They could be, imagine, creating new research projects. You could go to discuss with other universities to propose a new research project related with well-being, related with the arenas of the project. No problem. You could participate in conferences where you present your work and where you relate it with the outcomes of EUniWell and the agenda of EUniWell, of course. But it's very important that you are the main actor in the activity. So this is one thing we also discuss about. Since we want the champions to be the ambassadors, we want that they are the main actor in every activity. So, for example, what you cannot do, you propose at some moment, what I cannot do. You cannot, for example, send some collaborator. Imagine a PhD student, you send a PhD student to a conference and you don't go there. It's only the PhD student going there to do the mobility. So at that moment, it could not be a good activity. This activity could not be proposed because you are not the ambassador, you are not the main actor of the activity. So I think that I almost answered all. Do you want more precision about any of these answers, Jose?
Yes, so I understand that we are a sort of, or we will be a sort of I don't know if I put it that way, public relations persons of the project, in a way, sort of, yeah, network, also contact.
Network.
But in that sense, I mean, if, for example, I create a workshop in which different people give a presentation within that context, for example, in a University of Portugal, in which I combine, I don't know, equality and discrimination on the grounds of gender and LGBT with teaching, with education, how to combine both and so on, for example. Are we meant to, because I mean 6 months is not such a huge time, so should we include in the activities that we as ambassadors have to commit to write papers on, from an academic perspective, you know, the usual understanding of writing papers or writing articles out of it, or writing reports? I mean, how does it work? Because I mean, it's 6 months, so in 6 months, I mean, you can write a paper, but that is a matter if that gets published within that framework, so, or within that time framework. I mean, yeah, how do you envisage these questions in relation to purely research activities? I mean, because the networking activities, the social activities, and the dissemination activities through seminars, contacts, network with stakeholders, universities, and also organizations out of universities is clear to me. Yeah. But the research part, I mean, to what extent we have to commit to certain deliverables in terms of research within that period, that's what I would like to know.
Okay. So this is not a research project, okay? So no need to justify specific research outcomes, like you should publish a paper at the end of the 6-month period. There is no this obligation. The compulsory goals and action are more in dissemination, in networking, in creating a group of people collaborating around well-being and integrated somehow in the alliance, creating, imagine, as I said at some moment, projects, research projects together. But the precise, like patterns, like papers, like reports, there is no obligation to propose, because it's very, as you said, it's very small time to do new research and to publish new things. It's more the networking. Of course, it's later during this working, you are already collaborating with somebody and you are able to publish a paper and present this paper. You could present this paper as a justification of this collaboration, of course, but it will not be the main aim to do the research inside the 6 months. The 6 months are to create the network.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, if there are no more questions, and I don't see any more raised hands. Okay, no more questions in the chat. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you, Juan, for your answers, for your very wide and specific answers. I have, well, I having a closing slide that I would like to share with you, just for you to know and to have the links available just here. You can have more information of this initiative here, or you can contact us at this email address. I would like to thank you all for participating in this info session. I would also like to thank all the colleagues in EUniWell who have worked on this task and made the EUniWell Champions Scheme possible. And I would like to encourage all of you who are interested in participating in the EUniWell Champions Scheme initiative to submit your applications, since we are looking forward to receiving them. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for attending the info session, and have a nice day.
Thank you to all of you.
Thanks.
Thank
and
you.
keep in mind that there will be a second call in 2026.
Yeah.
Second
Hopefully.
possibility.
Yes.
So there are more than one. So this will be a second.
There will be a second at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
if that does not go through, then there will still be a second chance. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you.
Bye bye. Thank you for your interest. Good luck with the preparation.
Thanks.